Okay, cool. So we are back, and what are we gonna do today? No idea, but I think that means a perfect excuse to bust out our random starting off point or sketch suggestion template, whatever you want to call it. All right, let's shift select all of these, hit enter, see what we get. Okay, minimal, 3 instrument choices, starting with the wavetable, 6 effects choices, 20. That's fun. I always love like really slow tempos, and maybe we can actually double this at some point and see what happens there. And the key of F. Okay. And minimal. Yeah, shouldn't be too difficult, I guess. And we, of course, will deviate from this at some point because we always do. No reason to, be too stuck up with rules. Just makes life boring. So, okay, let's get the wavetable going in there and get some other, taking a minute, and let's get some more instrument options chosen. Collision, not a simple one. Of course, we could just run collision through convolution and turn it into some kind of a drone. That's an easy kind of a cop-out move in my opinion. All right, one more instrument, roll again. Electric. Okay, so that's actually the toughest one for me, just to be honest. It's because this one has, I think, of all of them, one of the more limited ranges of sounds that it can produce. Whereas like the operator and the, you can get so much more out of those other ones. Okay, effects. What do we got here? Use a pre-made effects rack. Okay, that sounds like fun. Let's pick one. Audio effects. Let's let's definitely get the warp and flubber in there since we've got 6 options. I think we can just kind of phaser pre-11. Yeah, we can pick whatever we want there. Phaser pre-11. Where are you? There's our phaser chorus. Very cool, very cool. Okay. Now, one more effect. Redux. Oof. Well, I guess the new one is a lot better than it used to be. So it's definitely one of my least favorite effects out of all the Ableton ones up until 11 when they upgraded it. It's much better now. Okay. Filter delay. Yeah, another one that I just don't use a whole lot. So, okay, I guess we just have to try and push ourselves today to do something a little bit off the beaten path. Let's see. I think I left it out of this list here because it's not something that I really use a lot. Plus, the regular delay has a filter inside of it now, so it almost makes this thing slightly redundant. Left around for legacy purposes, I guess. All right. Frequency shifter, another, I guess, pretty useful in subtle ways. It's what the warble or the warp and flubber is based off of. The frequency shifter, yeah, 2 of them in there. All right, so let's just copy from there instead of futzing about. Let's see, I think that's 5. Use me pre-made effects rack. Okay. I think I lost count with the effects, but no big deal. Even if we were 1 under, 1 over, I don't think it really matters. Okay, let's see. I'm going to choose fake verb simply because that has the convolution reverb inside of it, which then we can alter and do whatever the heck we want. Cool. Yeah, I haven't used this Max for Live patch in a while. It does, I've noticed, crash Ableton sometimes, especially if you have multiple instances of these. Sometimes on loading those projects, the old Max for Live patch crashes. Okay, EQ3, that's, yeah. Well, actually, we can do a lot with that. We can do some multi-band splitting with that thing. So let's see how far we get with just these basic effects. Let's see, key of F. Okay, so real quick, going to get the new and improved dead simple global transpose in there, and let's see. So this would be the key of C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, 5 up. Cool. We'll just go ahead and get one of these going on. Weird bug. Yes, weird bug. Can't just copy and paste it apparently. Or control drag, really, I can copy and paste, but if I control drag it, it seems to mess up. That must be just a weird niche bug. Okay, let's get rid of all this crap. And we don't need all of these scenes here. Nothing against scenes, of course, when setting up a live set over here in this view, having a lot of scenes makes crazy sense. All right, minimal. I think that'll be pretty easy, to be honest. Yeah, we could just really cop out on this sketch and do some really basic, simple, crackly, glitchy texture. I kind of want to explore melodies a little bit. All right, let's make an adjustment here. I think we need to change our output settings. So many. Oh, nice. Nice. Nice, nice. All right, well, I'm going to have to restart Ableton, so BRB. All right, we finally got everything fixed. One of the annoyances of working with Windows, at least on this computer, my other Windows machines do not have this weird problem with drivers. Trying to switch from one driver to the next sometimes does not work like it should. Yeah. Why would you work on a PC, you say? Well, you know, and it's funny because I have Macs and I actually work on a Boot Camp Windows partition on those Macs. I don't even use the OS X side anymore just because I have so much software that works only on PC, you know, old stuff only works on Windows. Yeah, and maybe I'm just a bit of a masochist to put up with some of the garbage that you have to put up with, unfortunately, with Windows. But of course, I know people with Macs, and they lament about issues all the time. You know, new OS X update, then they've got to reinstall all their plugins, or I don't know what. This whole Catalina debacle was definitely heard a lot of complaints on the internet. So anyway, back to it. You don't want to hear me talk. Let's just make some sounds. I'm going to try to rein it in a little bit. Cool. Just hitting random keys on the keyboard. Gonna make some kind of texture out of this. We need to set up our loop a little bit. Yep. Problems, problems, problems. Well, it wouldn't be a classic sketch exploration without a really lo-fi, garbagey quality kind of thing going on. I definitely have been, I'm definitely going for the crappy YouTuber of the Year award, and I'm well on my way. All right. Let's get a scale on that, kind of rein in those notes. And I think a random will help. Yeah, branch out a little bit with the notes. Guess we could just turn some of these off. You know, if you hit the key, nothing happens. Kind of a note filter. Yeah, we gotta automate that. Anytime I move a knob and I hear something kind of interesting, I always try to mimic what I was doing with the knob to make said interesting sound, and then, yep. Doesn't always work out, but it's definitely an art form to trying to remember your movements like that and then recreate them. Too bad Ableton doesn't have a an auto record automation knob movements button, kind of like it has with the MIDI notes. It'd be a slick feature. You're moving around a knob and then like, I love what I just did, and then you could hit a button and it would dump that automation into the clip. It's hard for me not to use any app, any music app, and not always think of ideas of things that would make that app so much better. I'm sure everybody does this. Cool. Let's just move all this over. Actually, clean it up first, because I've noticed it drags very slowly if you don't. There's a lot of little nodes, points there. Okay. Let's try moving around some other knobs and see if we can get some interesting... Yeah, I think that could be fun. Let's try some other shapes. I haven't really explored wave table too much, to be honest. Seems like it can do a whole lot, but I've noticed that its CPU use is quite intense sometimes, and you know, a lot of the sounds that come out of it, to be honest, at least the way I use it, it ends up sounding like the analog or operator ones. So I ended up just sticking with those since I know them a bit better. But as I say, practice makes perfect. I guess I just need to keep cracking away, keep making excuses to use this instrument, and I'll get better, and eventually maybe start using it more than the operator or analog. But I do think the same filters, you know, it's all a very similar sound to those anyhow, so. All right, let's get a little automation lane happening. And I think after I record this, I want to go in and actually sculpt in with the pencil tool and add in some steps, some quantized parts, which we don't normally do here. All right, I think that's probably enough. Yeah, since we've got such a slow tempo, you know, some of these long stretches of measures, I think it just, you can see how slow that's going. It's oftentimes very, very weird to work with really slow tempos. Not for the faint of heart. Okay. And I want to play around with some further EQing. Now that I've sat with this for a little bit, I'm hearing that phaser is maybe a little too overpowering. All right, let's rein this thing in a little bit. All right, cool. Let's get some grit on this thing. I think I'm putting it after the EQing. Might be too much rate down there. Might have to get in here and sort of sculpt some of that up. Yeah, maybe just have it spike down just for split seconds. As you've noticed, most of the time I kind of like to just rush out some automation stuff, but sometimes it's nice to get in there and really deliberately kind of do some things, add some specific motions. As much as I love leaving things up to chance, it's nice to kind of guide and direct a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. Although the sketchsploration series has definitely been mostly all about kind of going with the flow and seeing where that takes us. Doing just a little bit of direction along the way. Cool. Let's try to play with some of these other instruments. Cool. Gonna go ahead and pull in that terrible sounding recording. Got a few rogue notes. Really minimal music means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. You've got the whole Steve Reich or Philip Glass. Yeah, let's get rid of that note there. A lot of times what I like to do when I record and I hear that I've done some bad notes along the way, I like to hit the fold button, and usually it's just like the one note that's kind of out, floating around. Yeah, see this one note right here? So I don't want that E. And we could have added a scale, effect and shaped it that way, but for me it's easier to identify the rogue notes. All right. Let's get a probability gate in there, add some generativeness. Actually, we'll use this one. It makes the file sizes a bit smaller just because in this one it's kind of an egregious use of the chaining system, and each one of these has like two, MIDI effects inside of it, so 2 times 100, it's just a lot of extra. So in this case, this is a pretty lightweight Max for Life patch. Never had any problems with crashes with this one, so we'll also add one in here. Really the sort of more heavy-hitting Max for Life patches, like I don't know where that ended up going. The fake verb one, using the Max for Live. Just pull it back in here. I probably deleted it earlier somehow. All right, we'll just pull it right back in. I'm not sure if this piece being minimal, sometimes adding reverb makes things sound a lot bigger. And, minimal can often mean more up close and personal. So things that are more mono and less reverbed can ultimately sound a bit more smaller and more intimate, a bit more minimal in a way. Doesn't have to be sort of the minimal composition style like Philip Glass, which is just a very heavy repetition of, it's like a minimal use of ideas, if you ask me. That can get boring quickly, but also that's up to the composer to make it, I think, interesting. Oops, I did not want to do that. I'm just not thinking too clearly. All right, fake verb. I think that was not in the Max section. Sometimes I feel like this whole setup with all these files, it's getting out of hand. Gonna drown in it one day. All right, fake verb, there we go. And this is often how my own personal folders of effects and presets look, and I have to spend some time just going through some of them, just being like, what does that sound like again? I don't even remember what the nasterizer sounds like, you know, something I used a few times early on, you know, so I have to just sometimes just bring things in to remind myself of. All right, we'll leave these on for now. Let's get back to minimal piece. I guess minimal can also be songs that just are very sparse, that don't have a lot of notes in general. There's so many different ways to do minimal type of music. I've heard minimal music that has a lot going on, but it's just very quiet, you know, so it's minimal volume-wise. So I suppose there's like a lot of ways to interpret. Probably whole books written on it. Yeah, I'm gonna just sparse out this effect here. Not even sure this nasterizer is something that needs to be used ultimately. Let's rein in this reverb by making it a little less like spacious. So this makes our room much smaller. This definitely smooths everything out quite a bit. Okay, so let's try to mess with this electric. Very Brian Eno reminiscent. Rogue note there. If I really knew how to play the keyboard, I would just know what note. Definitely work with that. Let's just track down that rogue note. I think maybe it was this. Another easy way is just to use this speaker icon and scrub through until you find the one that. In fact, I want to keep that, but we'll just shift it down into one of the. That was it. Okay. Whoops, don't want to... Now, I want to make a track called Master Pitch, and this one... Paste, and this one will... See, that didn't work either, so yeah, that is it's definitely using some Max for Life code that's a little buggy. No bother, we can just drag in a new one, and that always works. So let's make this our master pitch controller clip, and we can just automate this. I want it to go between 5 and 0. Always a safe bet. 5 notes or 7 notes, you can get some really nice musical stuff that way. It's kind of a bit of a lazy man's move, but let's try 7 up. See, in this case, I don't think it really works. There's a few not so favorable notes in my opinion. So sticking with this kind of pretty motif we have going on. There's still a lot of movement, a lot of interesting stuff you can do with minimal music. I think it's just a matter of spending time and creating a lot of like subtle motions with automations. All right, let's make a multi-band split here. This is the thing I use the EQ through the most. I mean, the crossovers aren't 100% amazing, but you know, for just a quick and fast type of sound or effect, this is a great way to go. I think some of the best multi-band use of effects I've ever seen are the Melda production line. They have so many multi-band ones. Their multi-band granular is quite amazing. One thing I love to do with it is just open it up and hit the random button. There are 2 random buttons. So can you have enough? He's got this dice button and this random button. It's kind of all over the place, but this one picks a random preset, you know, of all the presets for this one particular effect, and then the random one just randomizes the settings within that preset. You can see a preset not changing, but anyway, this is something I love to do, is just kind of, and I oftentimes will put a recording plug-in or set up a new track and just record myself doing hitting the random button a few times, and then go to the recording and just cut out the parts I like. So anyway, yes, and also the Melda, let's see, reverb, yeah, multi-band convolution is quite insane, quite awesome, a lot of great built-in features. If I were to buy only 2 or 3 of the Melda ones by themselves, it would be probably the harmonizer for some crazy pitching and sound designing, this granular one, and then this reverb one. I mean, there's a lot of great effects in this line too, a lot of great multi-band distortions. I mean, just so many multi-band options. We could just do tons of sketches with nothing but these effects. One of the best investments. Alright, enough blah blah. Let's get some effects on all this. Let's save. I want to get the reverser in here. Now is the point. It's like, okay, I think I'm bored with the direction that the random picker chooser thingy that we used in the beginning. Now I'm just wanting to experiment. But, you know, at least it gets us this far to where we have an idea going, and we can at least just springboard off of this idea here. Sometimes just getting the engine jump-started in the morning is all you need, and then you can just kind of cruise from there. All right, let's set this thing up. Give it some weird length. And start recording some of these. So what I like about this piece so far is that it's not too busy, and there's a lot of unpredictable things happening still. Although I still kind of want to mess around with that electric and the collision just to make them a little less obvious. Like, obviously this is the stock out-of-the-box collision sound and electric sound, so you know, I just try to at least spend some time making, you know, things not sound like so stock, you know. Certainly there's a million... Oh, we have a crash. Quite possibly so. I'm going to pause this, and then let's hope for the best, that we get back to where we came. All right, see you in a bit. All right, finally we are back. That took 20 minutes to solve. It could be such a pain in the butt, you know. I had to basically remove my VST plugins folder, just like move it away so that when I reloaded Ableton it wouldn't find them, and then I had to move the Max folder away so that it wouldn't find them again. Constantly kept crashing trying to reload the backup file, So frustrating. So finally, after removing the max and then the VST folder, it finally loaded up and I could save it. But now this thing is stuck on. There's there's no turning that off. So I'm not really sure, you know, maybe that's because somehow this got automated. Interesting. I think that they have set this up inside of the Max for Live patch to so when I turn this button on, it's going to automatically record automation in there. It's kind of like not really well thought out patch programming, but I notice this with a lot of patches. But I notice Max for Live is just quite buggy still, unfortunately. Cool. So we at least got some of these automations saved. Let's go in there and kind of clean some of them up and move our start and end points. Yeah, I love Ableton to death, but it is quite buggy still. You know, with something like Max for Live allowing so much experimentation, you know, you're just bound to get it's probably going to be buggy forever. I really wish they would just build some system that allowed, you know, patches to crash on their own instead of bringing the whole system down. Absolutely very frustrating when the whole thing goes down just because of one silly little patch. I've seen other DAWs do this with plugins, like Bitwig is really good about sort of sandboxing plugins inside of it. So when one of those crashes, you get this pop-up that says such and such plugin crashed. Do you want to reload it? And you can hit yes, and it will usually just be fine after that. Or if it keeps crashing, then you know it'll tell you instead of bringing all of Bitwig down. So yeah, Ableton could definitely learn a thing or two from some other DAWs out there. All right, enough ranting. Let's delete that. We don't want that. Well, this one is needing to be automated. I see, because they're all controlling each other. Maybe that's why those are... So when I turn this thing on, and that may perhaps have something to do with the crashing. So I think... Yeah, that's my hunch. I think when whenever I deal with crashes, I try to do my best to sort of figure out what caused it, you know, to try to avoid that. Not always easy to be thinking on those lines. Just because sometimes, you know, the thing crashes and you really just like have no idea, but for me, you know, when I'm removing the VST folder and then it still crashes trying to load the backup, and then removing the Max folder and then it doesn't crash, and I realize, okay, so it was definitely a Max for Live, you know, and as I'm going through my project looking at all the Max for Live patches that I use, you know, I can kind of see what new thing did I do this time that I haven't really done before, and I'm noticing these, you know, this being on. I'm just trying to use the powers of deduction to try to figure it out. And oftentimes I'm surprised at how that has really helped me learn the idiosyncrasies of like why certain plugins are crash, which ones are unstable, and what causes them to crash exactly. And yeah, it's a bit of legwork, but it has certainly really helped me avoid pitfalls, because, you know, when you're sketching and you don't have a lot of time or energy left and your whole system goes down and just like the backup file keeps crashing on start, restart, you know, it's like at those points when you're like, why do I even bother? What's the, you know, why would anyone want to go through this or put up with this? So I'm always trying to think of ways to avoid So for now, I think before I turn this on, I'm going to simply, maybe if I turn this off, does it also not affect these? Okay, so I guess I just need to remember to turn this thing off. And I have a keyboard command set here. And So I'm also going to put that on here. So when I turn this thing on, this plugin will turn off. That's hopefully preventing, there we go, preventing these from accidentally recording automation when that's on, because they're not moving now. Okay, so I think, at least that's my hunch, but crisis averted for now. So let's just, business as usual. Yes, I do like some of the strange kind of spectrally sounds almost coming off of this. And now it's making the collision and the electric not so almost annoying or like stock sounding. Yes, we have some effects here to play with. Yes, we do. Let's record some of this. Yeah, a little too obvious redux type of sound there, which is why I love this jitter. It kind of helps break up that overly obvious reduced. I could definitely hear some field recordings added into this piece. Like very, you know, minimal type of, like taking a little dead leaf and putting it up close to the mic and recording some of the textures coming off of that. So I'm gonna minus 0.0001 that. That's a little weird. Not sure that's gonna stick. But we'll leave it in for now and just hear it on the loop a few times, and if it really sucks, we'll... So making a mental note. Potentially this is not a good move. Alright, multiband. What should we add in? I'm thinking for the high ends we'll do this resonator, and I'm just going to arbitrarily haphazardously go to these spots. Yeah, this Ableton cardboard sounding distortion is definitely really coming through. Ableton's distortions are some of the worst. You know, okay in a pinch, and if you're just needing something to put in the background of a mix, you know, not always a terrible move, but... Something I don't think we've done in a little while is played with the start and stop on the transport. So I had this idea of maybe we would go there. But first, I want to try to get this collision. Somewhere interesting. Anytime I bring in one of these, I'm always like crossing my fingers and toes and just don't crash, don't crash. You're doing a little chant inside of my brain. I like a good reverser effect, kind of haphazardously turning on. You know, if you leave any one effect on for too long, I feel like it can wear its welcome out. So interesting music to me has a lot of evolutions and changes and little nuances, little corners. So, you know, turning things on and off, and having some moves like this, I think it can make for some interesting textures. Alright, let's get some of that spectral nonsense in there. Also this vocoder could be interesting. Fun. Still not to the level or point of interesting that I like. You know, and sometimes that's okay, I guess, when sketching. It doesn't always have to end up in a place that's super amazing, you know? We've certainly had plenty of sketches in this series that have been a little lackluster, if you ask me. But that is kind of a sketch, honestly. It's not supposed to be amazing, or, you know, sometimes they can end up really easily turning into songs, but I often find that sketches take kind of a lot of work to get to a good point, you know? Several attempts of sitting down with them and messing around and tweaking them, and sometimes doing dramatic things like moving them sonically in a whole new direction. And that usually depends on whatever energy levels I have going into the sketch session. Sometimes it's so fluent and easy when I've got a lot of energy. Coffee helps often. Certain times of day. I think I want to try this on the low end. I don't, because we're not getting much to the low end. Very crusty sounding. Which, if you know, we had some hardware like analog distortion pedal type of effect. I think that would be. Oh, looks like this somehow recorded. Well, that's too bad. Yeah, so I think that has something to do with the old crash there. This recorded on and off. Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna have to restart Ableton and hopefully not go through the same garbage I did before, because it looks like we're stuck in a bad place. Can't hit play. This thing is stuck. The whole thing is stuck. It's terrible. All right, I'll be back. Okay, we are back, and I did pinpoint the bug to basically being this pitch shifter thing. Causing weird problems, being accidentally automated when we turn this on, and this is being automated and automating all these other ones. Max for Live. Still a bit of a shit show, unfortunately. I hate to say it. Love it to death, love it, hate it. There's so many pitfalls that can really just cramp your creativity. But then once you learn the patience of dealing with the crashes and the bugs that are just constant with Max for Live, it can be so rewarding at the same time. So many cool effects options and fun, weird ways to manipulate Ableton. So, you know, at the end of the day, even though I've spent 30 minutes today dealing with Max for Live related crashes, and probably total in my lifetime, like weeks all added up, dealing with Max for Live crashes, you know, it's still worth it. To the joys and of interesting sounds that has brought me in the end. So that is to say, I should shut up and not complain so much. But still, Ableton, fix these goddamn bugs. For everybody's sanity's sake. You know, hopefully before I die, there is a version of Ableton 20 or 30 or whatever, that is completely Max for Live bug free. That would be just amazing. Alright, so this thing So for now, let's see if I turn this thing on and off. It seems to still record an automation there. That's very frustrating. So I'm gonna just have to turn this thing off. Let's just disable this clip for now. Actually, let's see if this plugin allows for modulation. There's no modulation option. That is, again, I think kind of lazy, because it's, you know, just a couple things you click inside of Max for Live to make a knob have modulation capability. So I think what we're gonna do is we'll just move this out for now. We won't have that cool pitching. And we'll move this back in after we've, you know, towards the end, I think. So save ourselves the trouble of the weird issue that's causing the crash. Because I want to still be able to just turn this thing on and start moving stuff around, and getting all kinds of weird cat meow sounds or whatever the heck. I don't want my style to be cramped too much due to some dumb bug. One day they'll fix all the bugs. One day. Hire some more programmers. You charge enough for your software. My goodness. I think I should turn this this sketchsploration series is now being transformed into the Bitch About Ableton's Shortcomings series. After I praise it for the pros far outweigh the cons, but cool. Well, it's certainly starting to sound like a really not super minimal as before, but I wish I could pull this down even further. I do think I want to get an LFO on that there tempo. Let's see what we got going on here. I do like, you know, there's a prettiness to this song. This sketch, I should say. Not really a done deal yet. Cool. And let's get a pitch shifter going. Maybe that'll be call it for the day. Yeah, just my mouse just happened to be on this and I was like, what does this do? I don't remember almost. Too much flanger, I think. Yeah, where's that pitch shifter? Sometimes this can sort of smooth things out a little bit. The thing I don't like about this is you can't just type in whole numbers. You have to type in 2 zeros. That does I mean, it's nice that it does microtonal stuff, I guess. It's one of those things where it's like, well, just push this button, get in there and change the dang thing to the way you like it. And that is the beauty of Max for Live is, yeah, you don't like something, you can tweak it. Sounding really just like a really confused, drunk giraffe or like a marmot of some kind. Just some... It's a robot that's really confused and sad and stupid. Almost some vocal qualities coming out of this. Alright. Ooh, such a sad, sad animal. Then it's fun when it's fun to be funny sometimes. Let's get more glide going on that. Yeah, we need to. And now that I'm hearing, I think this filter jammer has too much gain, which is, we could either get in there and adjust down the, and somehow this got messed up as well. We need to fix our loop so it goes back to 1 instead of starting at some, that was when that happened. So we could either, we could just pull our gain down so it's not pushing into the saturation section of the filter jam, or play with the mix, do a little bit of both. Cool. Let's clean that up. And I guess instead of dragging it, I'm just gonna kind of cut and paste that. It's a bit faster, in my opinion. All right. It always feels good when every knob on a thing has been automated. Sometimes you can't even tell the difference of what actually all of these are really doing, or if they're even doing anything, but it feels good. I think I'm just a really sick in the head automator. Probably need to seek some help for my addiction. Cool. Let's also cut and paste this. Cut and paste this. And clean them up. Part of me is really wanting to fill this, you know, the usual, get like a lot of angles and stuff going and make it a really beefy, filled out sketch. Part of me, you know, after fighting with bugs for so much, you know, maybe I just want to try and stick with the minimal stuff. I do kind of want to hear one more texture layer. Let's see here, slurps, yeah, this is our classic move. One of my favorites. Not sure if it'll actually do anything for our sketch. I always love a good digital slurp. Let's try moving this fake verb all the way to the end and see if that... Cool. All right. Tempo time. Time to get crazy with the tempo, and I think we've already got a thing I could pull in here. That's planning ahead. Oh wow, what's going on in here? I guess a lot more going on in this tempo. Oh, this has the transport on and off. Let's see, I don't think we need this operator or vinyl distortion. And I think it's just a little too much reverb still for my taste. So maybe we'll just... And let's get this tempo kind of, it's going a little fast. Let's see, transport on and off, rate tempo. Maybe we pull the depth down. Target tempo, I think that's the one. Want it to be a little more on the slower side. Let's hear this stuff again. Ah, this was that one we made that turns the audio off when the transport is off. That's a good time. Let's pull that in there. Nothing wrong with combining parts from older sketches. I do sense this is missing a bit of bass, but I'm not sure if we want that. Sometimes it's nice to just leave that. Yeah, there's some bassy stuff, a little bit. This piece is not going to lend itself, I think, to a bass line, but maybe some kind of lower. Accidentally dropped the electric in on this channel, but now I'm kind of liking what I'm hearing. Very cool. Every now and then I think I want this to just slam on. Slam on a full 100%. That's interesting. Now this thing is not staying on for some crazy reason. It probably has something to do with this transport tempo. This got automated also. Something I should have considered when. So now I'm a bad patcher according to my own standards. And that's true. I really am sometimes not the best patcher. Not really sometimes, probably most of the time. I can't consider myself a great Max for Live creator. Some really crazy vocal stuff coming out of maybe still a little too fast overall. This was ultimately made for much, much slower. And so, just need to, certainly this being on helps, break up some of the constants. Noticing that not change very much. So I think it's, yeah, we gotta have a little depth here. I think with this all the way at -1, it will hit that 20. So we'll just pull this up just a tiny bit. Yeah, now it's hanging out more in the 20s and 30s and yeah, somehow now this got automated on. And I do know there are certain cases where you do have to leave the automation on for certain buttons. I think in max reliability, if you turn that off, it doesn't save its state in the undo or something like that. There's some reason sometimes where you have to leave it on, and then it becomes a conundrum when you start using this thing. I did not want to delete that. This is, shoot. I lost my master clip pitch because there's so much stuff going into the undo. It's a nightmare. I tell you. Now, where is this coming from? Who is automating without? Like anybody in here? Can't. I'm probably not going to find it. There it is, hiding out. All right. Sometimes you get lucky. Now, let's get that pitch thing going on here again, where we had +5 every now and then. Sometimes you just got to start over. Well, for a minimal piece, I'd say it works. And it sounds weird enough. There's like a million more things we could probably do to it. You know, it could be nice to have some organic sounds in there. I am curious now what some of our recordings. Let's work that. Yeah, it's gotta be weird with this pitch shifting going on. And if we make these synced, they're gonna be doing a lot of changes to the tempo. All sounding very Stockhausen almost era. Of course, with that wonderful cardboard Ableton sort of sound. Not sure about that. It might have been this effect here going a little crazy. So we'll pull that down quite a bit. Ah, shoot, I fell into the trap. I hit this button here, and now we got some, oh no, we have our pitch stuff automating over here. Let me just, I can't stop the playhead now because it's being automatically controlled. This thing is a nightmare. Let's shut that one down, and let's go ahead and delete these. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth, but the show must go on. Such a soapbox I feel over here I'm on. I need to just shut up. I like that. Sounds like somebody's like chewing on some gum or something in the background. That is almost just disconcerting almost. Holy crap. All right, let's turn this thing back on and hope for the best. And I think this thing starting over was a problem with... Oh! Crashies, yes. It's been a day, I tell you. Some days are better than others, but yeah, okay, so I'm gonna pause it and try to bring this thing back online. And with that, we'll just call it a day. And, you know, until next time, good luck with those crashes.